Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. Are you a brick and mortar business owner looking to thrive for at least 20 more years? Or perhaps you're part of a family business, maybe a parent and child company of sorts, and you're wondering, how can you still make it together? Well, tonight for Hispanic Heritage Month, we have a very special interview for you with a local family restaurant established in 1999 and still here to this day in the financial district of Boston, Massachusetts. Yes. So you are going to want to tune in for insights. We ended up going even overtime with the interview. Had such a pleasure interviewing them, but they shared all the insights, all the back-end information on how you too can ensure that you are running a thriving business through recessions, pandemics, political upheavals, location switches, all the things. They made it through and they shared all the tips and tricks. So stay tuned.
Welcome to Entrepreneurship is a Marathon, a podcast about how you can grow a profit-producing, purpose-driven business without burnout. We don't need more people starting businesses. We need more people continuing. Each week, we'll deliver the latest and greatest tips, tricks, and strategies for you to revive, grow, and scale your business. Now, here's your host, consultant, professor, and the business defibrillator, Vanessa Zammi.
Now, some of you may be slightly confused if you saw some of the flyers and topics change around. So our original guest, Amber Frelin, for this evening was going to talk about authenticity. She does live in Florida, and her and her family was greatly impacted by the hurricane. And so they're okay. They're okay, but they are still without electricity a week later. So we will be rescheduling Amber to come and join us for authenticity, what to do if no one is responding. And we wish our originally scheduled guest, Amber, her family, and others in Florida a safe recovery down there. And we know that she'll be joining us soon in the future. That's showbiz. When you're live, things happen. The good news, though, is that we were able to record this lovely, lovely interview with the local family restaurant established in 1999, still here 24 years later, the first authentic Mexican cuisine restaurant in Massachusetts. And I had so much fun just listening and hear more from this mother-daughter team, Julie and Bessie King. We are honored to share their story here on Entrepreneurship is a Marathon, the live show and the podcast. You do not want to miss the valuable insights that they have and for how this widowed immigrant kept and still keeps her business, Villa Mexico Cafe, thriving these last 24 years in Boston, Massachusetts. And she has no plans on stopping, okay? And she will continue as long as she wants to continue. You'll hear it here. Before we go into nitty-gritty of the different questions and the interview and the insights, as always, in every episode, what I like to address, what has been your win of the week? What has been your win of the week? Yes. So type it in the comments. It could be a personal win. It could be a business win. But take this moment today. What has been your win of the week? Yes. My win of the week was this interview with Julie and Bessie King of Villa Mexico Cafe. Talk about an entrepreneurial business ownership story. Just amazing, right? How they took through all the ups and downs. You might be here in the post-pandemic world, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? You might be here during the recession world listening to this and like, OMG, like, I should just switch up everything. Perhaps your landlord is telling you that they're about to shut down the building that you are in, right? They went through that too. Perhaps you are, concerned. Maybe you're a child concerned about their parent, right? Concerned about your parent. You're like, oh my gosh, like my parents always stress out. Like, what do I do? Maybe you're the parent stressed out about the child and wanting the child to also live a life. They went through all that and more in this interview. And so it's just so happy and honored to be sharing that with you. Oh, so what has been your win of the week? It could be personal, it could be business, but what has been your win of the week? To give you a background before we introduce Julie and Bessie King. So Julie King is the founder and owner of Villa Mexico Cafe, known as the infamous Momma King. She's been a mentor, an adoptive mom, a knacker, a local food industry personality that adores cooking and sharing good food with her friends, her customers, ultimately. You'll share more, essentially, Villa Mexico Cafe, they treat it as her home, right? She treats it as her home. And you get what you get, right? The good, the bad, the happy, the sad, most importantly, the happy. And Villa Mexico Cafe is an women family-owned restaurant that's operated for 24 years and counting, founded by a Mexican missing her food, right? She essentially, was like, I'm in Boston here. Where's authentic Mexican food? And voila. Started in Woburn, Massachusetts, now in Boston, Massachusetts. Momma King, Julie King, owner, manager, cook, cleaner, and everything else, moved there with her daughter, Bessie. And after her American husband passed away from Alzheimer's. And through the years and through many ups and downs, Villa Mexico has established deep community roots and proudly supports different community organizations and events focusing on women's health, food safety, social justice, and education. You will hear more other inspiring, informative, and insightful stories soon. We have here someone who shared their win of the week. Was waking up early and exercising with her mother. Talk about family. Gotta love it, right? Let's keep this thread going. And let's hear from Villa Mexico Cafe. Good evening, listeners and viewers. We are so honored to have here with us Julie King and Bessie King, the mother-daughter team behind Villa Mexico Cafe, a 20-plus-year-old business in Boston, Massachusetts. We are so happy to have them joining us this evening. So, ladies, how did you get started? Why did you get started? How did you get started with Villa Mexico Cafe, way back when?
24 years ago, my dear, we started the business. How? Very difficult. Because we were just coming from Mexico City. We are from Mexico. I mean, when I said we, it's because I always include my daughter like a Mexican girl. But the truth is that she born in Texas. I got married in Texas as well and in Mexico City. And my husband and her dad, he was American, and he was an officer from the U.S. Navy. The U.S. Navy. So we moved to Mexico for Bessie's education, and when he passed away, we moved back to the States to allow my daughter to study here. So I finally came back to Boston because I thought that it was a very good place for her to study. And it was only me and my daughter, and we were I was missing my food a lot. Bessie was raised in Mexico, and because her kindergarten and the elementary school and part of the middle school, she did it in Mexico City. But when we moved to the States, she came here for high school and also college. So that's why I decided to move to Boston. And I was missing my food a lot. And I never thought, that the Mexican food in Boston was like a Tex-Mex food. So every time we used to go and eat some Mexican food, I was very, very, very sad and upset because it wasn't a good, authentic Mexican food. And so suddenly I could have, I found a little place. My sister came from Mexico together with my daughter. We started working in that little place that it only cost me $500 a month. The landlord really was very helpful with us. And that's the way I started my business. Because I wanted to show the people what was our authentic Mexican food, our history, our culture, and at the same time, our folklore and the mariachis. And in those days, my friend, 24 years ago, you couldn't find a mariachi band. It was very difficult.
Yeah, in the 90s?
You couldn't find the right ingredients, so we have to bring everything from Mexico. But that's the way we started. Very difficult, but after 24 years, I can tell you that we are blessed. Thanks to God, we have a nice business, and now a lot of people come here and enjoy having the authentic Mexican food.
And, this is like our relationship. My mom and I, she's the visionary and I'm like the note taker, action planner. So I would like to just add, several immigrants come to the U.S. and they are, like my mom, lawyers. My mom's a lawyer. She's not just a cook, and nothing against cooks either. But there is not the ability to work in their profession.
Yeah.
Because the U.S. makes you get your license reaccredited. And that's very difficult for many immigrants, even if they speak the language like my mom did. So we have teachers, we have accountants, we have lawyers, we have doctors, and all of them are capable to work in those industries, but they are essentially not allowed to by the government. So many immigrants continue to survive by opening small businesses. And it is those small businesses, the immigrant businesses, the exotic businesses, that really inspire other larger businesses and organizations and companies to launch fancy restaurants with being fusion food, right? Or being inspired by or trends that essentially take from the original source, which is immigrants or people of color or any other culture.
I love that. Thank you for adding that. Yes, I know a lot of my peers who, who come, to America as immigrants, and they have their doctorate degrees, and they have, they have these fabulous sort of, lives, being publishers and authors and all this thing, outside. But then when they come here, they're not able to practice. And so it's like, what do they do? And back then there wasn't like rideshare. Nowadays people will do rideshare, for example. But this is so inspiring that even with the it's like sort of those things where you guys said, okay, there's a demand here. We're not seeing the food that we want, and there's definitely a gap. And so let's fill that gap, right? I think that's so inspiring, especially you came together as a family too. And you say, you know what, we're going to do it together and make it happen. And so I love that. And so you kind of maybe alluded to this a little bit earlier, but what were sort of the hardest years of business for you, would you say? So, yes, we're going to be going into that, yes, after this break. But while you're watching, we're going to take a quick little momentary break. Meanwhile, support Villa Mexico Cafe. Follow them on social media. You can find the Villa Mexico Cafe. We'll be right back after this quick break with more on what were the hardest parts of business for them, right? What really kept them? What were their keys to success as they went through the recessions, the pandemics, all the things, right, on the past 24 years? Think about what has happened during the past 24 years, right? And all the things that they went through to still make it. So after the short break, we'll be right back.
If you're a storefront business owner, salon owner, or brick and mortar shop owner, including a cafe, home decor, furniture, or clothing boutique, then listen up. We have some incredible discounted workshops at vzammy.com for our podcast listeners to help you increase your sales by 50%. If you are looking for more tips on reviving your business, make sure to visit our website, vzammy.com. That's vzamy.com. To register for our upcoming business growth workshop on staff management, financial management, and time management. It's your time to revive, grow, and scale your shop so you can go on that vacation and still have your shop thriving. Visit vzammy.com. That's V for Vanessa, Z for zebra, A for animal, M for money, Y as in yes.com. Visit vzammy.com for more details.
What would you say was like the beginning, the middle, the end, all throughout? What would you say were kind of the hardest years of business for you? We have lots of people listening who, they have their brick and mortar business. Some of them are 15 years in business, some of them 5 years, some of them 10 years. And so what would you say for you were like the hardest years if you had to like map it out?
Well, the thing is that, let me tell you something. We started pretty good. This happened in 1999, okay? After 6 months, my dear, since we opened the restaurant, we have lines going into the place. We started with 5 tables. We ended up with 10 tables. That place wasn't the restaurant. It was like our house. The customer wasn't our customers. They were our friends. We were sitting a couple with another couple because we needed more chairs, more place to food the people. And it was a party every day. But after 2 years being in that place, and then Villa Mexico starts, like growing and being very happy, we have a fire accident. Then after a year, I could be relocated in Woburn, where is the place that we started, and we have a bigger place, and we have a big restaurant with 30 tables. I was working from 6 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the morning. It was a lot of hours. It was very tired, but at the same time, it was very happy because the people start coming to the second location. They were very happy. And then I got sick. Then we were relocated in our fourth location. And it was, no, the third location. And it was a gas station. Gas station, it was very, very little place. And it was in Beacon Hill. And it was incredible. So we started having parties in a gas station. Our first customers started joining us to the gas station. It was something unique because it was a Mexican restaurant in the gas station having a good burritos, okay? An authentic Mexican food. And we were having a blast over there. The students from MIT, we have a student from Suffolk University, from Northeastern University, where my daughter studied. And after 7 beautiful years, until Mexico was blooming and was growing, guess what? The landlord wanted to demolish the gas station, and oh my God, it was awful. Then a friend of us that we met in the gas station.
Oh, before you continue, Julie, I just want to read this for people just a bit before we pass, right? So ultimately, it was sort of a, right, because there was such a demand, right, for Mexican food in the Boston area. It was sort of, you sort of hit the market, right? You hit the jackpot in a sense, right? So you had all success coming in. And of course, you probably had, with people, like with the networks, you guys were sharing it out with people, right? And people came and they flooded. And then it was sort of, because there's this moment that happens sometimes with people where they experience the growth in their business, but sometimes they then decide to pull back. They'll say, oh, okay, it's growing. You know what? We only have 5 tables. Let's not market that much, right? We said, no, we're growing. We're going to keep on growing. And so it was, okay, how can we then sort of capitalize on the growth, right? And switch locations. Sometimes you got to go to a new location. So you went to a different location. You prospered even further. And now you're at a point where it's sort of, different things were kind of happening. Now it's like, oh, we want to shut down the entire store. And lots of people, there may be someone listening right now where perhaps, you're in a space, or even during the pandemic, especially when people were shutting down things and all that sort of stuff, where perhaps they were getting, pushed and bothered to also, shut down their store and their restaurant. And so, okay, what did you do next, Julie, when that gas station came?
Okay, well, I was going to tell you that it's a friend of ours that we met at the gas station, and he and his wife was extremely wonderful person with us. They helped us brick and mortar to do our house at the financial district because they own a building here.
Not our house, our restaurant. That's what she means.
The restaurant. Okay, I'm sorry. But
it was like a house. It was like a family. So
yeah.
It's like a...
Yeah, no, and besides that, I spend most of the time here, So, and then we were having, everybody knew that Villa Mexico was coming back, and it was back in business, and we was this and that, and then guess what? COVID-19 came over here, and it was crazy. So, if you tell me, if you are asking us the biggest issue that we have or the big problems, my dear, I can tell you that during all our 24 years, we have we have been having many issues, problems, incidents, and we are still in business because we are together. For my daughter, it's not like beautiful thing because she wasted part of her life making burritos and tacos and helping me. But to me, it has been my entire life having a business here because it was extremely hard, very difficult. From this business, I could raise my daughter, but it was running like crazy. I am widowed, nobody helped me, and I was, trying to jump in many obstacles, but we are still in business. Now, Bessie can talk about the experience about it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very good summary that my mom gave. We've been in 4 different locations. We have had 3 different landlords, and we have continued to survive essentially because of our customer base, who continues to tell us, we like your food, we want you, please keep going, open up again. There are many times where I've told my mom, it's like, just close it. Let's finish this. Just get a normal job that gives you benefits, right? Like, and you have a 401k, because most small business owners don't have a retirement account. Some of them don't even pay themselves paychecks, right? So it is very hard. It is very hard work. Like my mom said, she was sick. She got, hospitalized a number of times with surgeries. So it's not easy just to call yourself the owner, right? Like my health too, it suffered during the years that I was at the restaurant working full time, because it's like 80-hour weeks. And so I think that the biggest challenge now is not the survival. Thank God we have a very good reputation. We are hustlers. We don't give up. But it is to make customers realize that the customer is not always right. And that as business owners, we deserve the same respect that they expect as customers. And post-COVID, it has been even harder to make customers realize that. Not our loyal following. Our loyal following knows if you come into the restaurant, this is how things are. That's how you're going to have them. But for any newcomers, if they come in and they try to ask for substitutions, if they question why the food is too expensive, if they wonder why we don't put corn inside the tacos or anything like that, that's like the Tex-Mex version of what food that they're used to, we will educate them, politely tell them this is how we do things. But then we usually receive anger, and there must be something passing by. Either my mom or me has an ambulance passing by. I'm sorry. But, we usually receive anger or attitude, or, well, this is how it should do because customers are right. And it's just like, no, you don't like it, go to another business. That's the beauty of business ownership.
Yes, love it, love it, love it. We had a guest, one of our listeners. Wow, what an eye-opening story about what it truly means to be a business owner. Yes, and there's more of that story to come after this quick break. But ultimately, right, it's what was Bessie just talking about? The authenticity. It's sort of staying true to you, yourself, and what your business is, right? And she'll go into more details about how they actually stayed authentic as a business, right? Through all the changes, through all the demands, and sticking true to their purpose right after this quick break.
If you're a storefront business owner, salon owner, or brick and mortar shop owner, including a cafe, home decor, furniture, or clothing boutique, then listen up. We have some incredible discounted workshops at vzammy.com for our podcast listeners to help you increase your sales by 50%. If you are looking for more tips on reviving your business, make sure to visit our website, vzammy.com. That's vzamy.com. To register for our upcoming business growth workshop on staff management, financial management, and time management. It's your time to revive, grow, and scale your shop so you can go on that vacation and still have your shop thriving. Visit vzammy.com. That's V for Vanessa, Z for zebra, A for animal, M for money, Y as in yes.com. Visit vzammy.com for more details.
I want, and I have craved a spot in this niche industry because of what I offer. So to any business owners listening, you don't have to be rude, you don't have to be an epitist, but you have to stand your ground. And that is what we've done for 24 years, being the only authentic Mexican restaurant owned by Mexicans from Boston and in Massachusetts.
I love it. I love it. Standing your ground and sticking together. Yes, right. Like talk about true authenticity, right? It's sort of, you've heard it's like all these challenges have happened, but what has really kept you together is, togetherness of the actual team within the Villa Mexico Cafe. But even the point that you touched on, Betsy, in terms of, now, I mean, actually, I'm curious, based on your answer, I don't want to assume, but based on what you just shared, would you say that perhaps what would you have done differently in the past is sticking more to your ground? Like, was there ever a time where you sort of like tried to veer off and all this sort of jazz and you were like, oh no, we should have just stuck to our ground? Or would you say it's always been, nope, authentic at all times?
No, I think we've always been authentic. We opened the business with my mom saying, if I don't eat it in Mexico, I'm not going to sell it. That's it.
That's
I
the truth.
think that business wise, we should have done other things in the past. We could have explored, a different location. I mean, we wanted to be in Boston because it was making it, right?
Mm.
We started in the suburbs. Had we stayed in the suburbs, we would have thrived, I think, twice as much as we have in Boston, because the cities have slowly, even before COVID, phased out because of how expensive they've become. And so now with COVID, the irony is we were originally from Woburn, Massachusetts with the business, right? And we chose the financial district because it was like the middle of it all. And we're making before COVID, very good business, thank goodness, which is not the point now. So I think whoever, and I think that is an experience, a shared experience by many business owners. Making it to the city is like the sign that you have a good business, right? But moving forward, I think any location that you choose has to be intentional. Is it close to where you live? Because we didn't live close to Boston. Is it accessible via transportation? Because sometimes there's not going to be an ability to drive if it's snowing and you still want to open, right? For us or for people in Florida right now with a hurricane, right? There's a lot of different elements that you have to think of nowadays. The costs are so much higher, and that we didn't have to think of in the past, or that we didn't want to think of. Not that we didn't have to, we didn't want to. So looking back, I think those are the lessons from our past that we're trying to implement moving forward. But we've always stuck to our guns. We've always been, if we don't eat it in Mexico, we don't sell it. And my mom is the biggest prophet for that, because she's just like, no, that's not my food.
I love it. I love it. So to Julie, anything else to add you'd like to add to what Bessie mentioned? Oh, wait, you're on mute.
It has not been, yeah, thank you. Thank you. It has not been easy. Not for me, not for Bessie. Why? Because her life was being, only in the restaurant. She studied a profession, she finished her master, and I think that my daughter deserves to have her own life. She has a very good employee now, and she's working on whatever she really likes. It's not easy for me right now because, of course, she's a very, very nice person to be working with, and very strong, and she knows how to handle the things, but she needs to have her life. It has been very hard for me. But at the same time, I have such a wonderful thing from my customers that I said, my friends, and we met so many angels in our life that it has been beautiful. For example, in the events that we go, there is one that is coming in October, and we have been helping this event for 12 years. Okay, and we are part of that event. This is Men Cooking for Women's Health, and is the how do you call the hospital? Come on.
It's the Codman Square Health Center here in Dorchester.
Yeah, and who are the men? The men are all the politicians in Massachusetts, including the governor, the city, the mayor, representatives, news journalists. So we know them, and they really like us. And every time we go to this event, it is so wonderful because they see us, and they, Julie, Bessie, how are you? Because they met my daughter. She wasn't a kid, but she's not the lady that she's now, So they have been seeing how she grows. Even there is a guy, John King. He's a very good journalist, and he's an anchor. And I told him that he's my brother-in-law. And one day I was in there and I said, John, how are you? So he looked at me and he said, do I know you? I said, of course, you're my brother-in-law. And he said, are you my daughter's uncle? Am I? Yes, of course. And since then, every time that she said, "Hello, my dear niece, how are you?" And it's John King.
It's hilarious. This John King, the like CNN reporter, who's originally from Boston, from Dorchester, and he's been at this event for a number of years as well. And so, you know, it's hard. Like my mom said, it's very hard. It's hard for me to see her working alone because I know how to handle the restaurant. I'm younger, like she said, like I can take things better, but at the same time, we each have to fulfill our dreams, right? And so I think that has been a big challenge for both of us as family members, learning how to continue working together or doing whatever I can from the periphery to support her, like tonight with you, without being physically there. And trust me, I miss it. I miss being there. I miss seeing our customers. Sometimes my mom tells me, "Oh, this guy came in with this burrito and he says he said hello to you." And it's like chicken only, no rice, no beans. And I finished the sentence and I said extra lettuce. And she goes, "Oh my God, you remember?" She's like, "Of course I remember. His name's John." Like, I love that, right? I love it. And like John King, our customer John also has the same familiarity, and we become family members of some of our customers. We've seen kids grow up. We still get holiday cards from people that used to go to Woburn to eat with us 24 years ago, you know? So it's been a challenge learning the balance of business ownership and family life is very tricky, but it's one that is absolutely necessary.
It is. And I'm so glad you touched on that. So actually your stories remind me of one of my other clients who's also a mother-daughter team. And it's very much like the daughter, married now has a granddaughter, but still is the same town. And so still helping out with the business from a marketing perspective. And so they're not necessarily a restaurant, they're a different brick and mortar shop, but ultimately it's, now we're in that discussion with the daughter. I'm in discussion with the daughter about, okay, how do you also have a life while also helping out your mother? Because she also, wants to help her mother wants to help out too. And so it's kind of just like that dynamic of the family, of the business, and, thinking about, okay, what does each person even want for the business, but also for themselves, right? And thinking about how do you adjust that and balance that. So I love that though. Love that. And so you guys mentioned touched on a lot of the questions. And so I'm curious, what next? What are you looking forward to for the cafe within the next 5 to 10 years? Like, is there, a new location in sight? Is there a second location down the horizon? Sort of what can we expect?
Well, don't ask this to Bessie because Bessie wants to sell the restaurant and say goodbye.
Yeah.
She wants me to have, to be study and to enjoy my retirement. And I'm not that kind of person. I have been working since I was 15. And all my time I have been working like boom, 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 doing things. I am like crazy. But what is going to happen, my dear? Only God knows. I cannot tell my plans because he will be laughing at me. Okay. So what is going to happen? I don't know. I live my day a day. I love my restaurant. Sometimes I feel proud to see how, without having anything and without knowing any of the requirements in the States for having a restaurant, I could do it. And that is only because God was helping us. He was directing my life, And thanks to my daughter that she could study. She gave me a lot of press, public relations, and it is a very nice, we make a very nice team. But at the same time, I am so happy with all the people that I met. They really love us. They help us. They care about us. That God, let me tell you something. We are not rich. We have been living from our business, but we have been only a small business. Mom and dad, how do you call it? Pop and mom or something like that. I don't remember exactly. But we never, ever have any partners. We have been fighting for ourselves. We are a small business. But my small business, it's so big because the people know us. We are immigrants. We have been having such a many issues that some people could say, I give up. And with us, we get the best things out of the bad ones. And we enjoy doing I enjoy doing whatever I am doing. I thank the people because they like us a lot. They really recognize our hard work. And two women in business, we have been working, fighting, and keep our lives with, at least for me, I don't know what is going to be my future, but I am so happy in the way that I am right now.
I love that. Oh my God. Yes. Betsy, anything to add? Anything to add?
Yeah.
I laugh, I suffer many things, but I am still here with my daughter. Thanks to God.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously we have to be realistic, right? Like that's the difference. It's like,
You see?
oh yeah. If things,
I am the
the
dreamer,
balance.
she's the realistic.
exactly. I think that it's so wonderful for like the generation of my mom to never want to stop working, right? Like they really were born into a mindset of you will work till the day you die because that's what you're supposed to do and you enjoy it, and they sincerely do. My mom sincerely does, but that's not healthy and that's not sustainable. So of course, as any child would want their parent to be calm and happy and be able to travel whenever they want or sleep in past 7 a.m. because they don't have to go and make sure that chicken's being cooked. Like, I think I would want that for my mom. And I think that's very fair to ask that. So I think moving forward, we do sell our salsa nationwide, and it is a fantastic product. The product itself, our salsa, which is, people call it the black salsa, but it's just our house salsa. It's my mom's recipe. It actually paid for 2 months worth of our rent and expenses during COVID. We sold about $20,000 worth of salsa in 2020 alone. So we know that there's a product there. And my personal goal is to monetize it and get it in store shelves, which is a process of itself. So we need to figure out how to make that happen. And as far as the brick and mortar, I mean, you know, whenever my mom is ready, we can sell it. We can give it to someone else to manage, or we can close it if nobody's going to continue the mission as we have. But I think that there are stories that need to come to an end, and that's okay too. And there's nothing wrong in that. We just need to continue with whatever life has ahead of us. And when my mom is a grandma, I don't want her bringing my kids to the kitchen and having her not be able to enjoy her grandkids because she needs to make burritos, you know?
At least they will hear a very nice story from the grandma.
Exactly.
If I get grandkids.
Never
You never
ends.
know.
Yes, spoken like a true international mother. Always been mentioning me. Grandkids sliding in there every conversation.
Exactly.
I get it, Betsy. I'm with you.
Yeah.
So
Let me tell you a little story.
Well,
very
you don't
fast.
have time anymore.
No, we don't. Oh, okay. I will tell you the next podcast.
Exactly. Next one.
I love it. Yes, it was a pleasure having you both on, and just loving to see the dynamic between the mother-daughter team. And I think it was great how Julie spoke like a true entrepreneur we all know and love. Like, listen, I'm gonna be here until I'm not, and that's what it is, right? And Bessie speaking like a true strategist. Yes, and here's how you're gonna keep on going forward, right? Think of it. When Betsy, you were talking about the things have to come to an end. I think of it like Serena Williams, essentially recently, it's like she called it an evolution, right? It's more of an evolution. And so, even perhaps you monetize the salsa, it's not the end. It's just an evolution.
Exactly.
It's an evolution, right? And thinking about that as well too, right? But essentially, both visions can live and last and thrive. And so it's just a matter of what's next. But for those who are looking to follow more stories, hear more of Julie's stories as well too, and Betsy, and see this team in action, follow them on social media. Villa Mexico Cafe. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month, everyone. And for those who are impressed, you are in Boston. I know we have a lot of people in Massachusetts who follow me here on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So head on over to Villa Mexico Cafe, type it in your Google Maps. For those who are not in Boston, check out their salsa or put it on your places to visit when you do head into Boston, okay? Because I know you'll be visiting soon. With that being said, have a lovely, lovely, lovely time. And the website is www.villamexicocafe.us. Yes. So inspiring to hear Betsy and Julie King and their story. The mother dreamist, the daughter of realist. I think Julie King, the mother shared it best. I have a small business, but my small business is so big. And that is why I do what I do in helping brick and mortar businesses to thrive in their vision, right? Because yes, your business may be called small, quote unquote, but you know that it is big. It has a big impact in your community, a big impact to the local people who are around you, right? And we need to ensure that impact definitely does continue. So it's a pleasure to have Julie and Betsy King here at Villa Mexico Cafe with us. If you didn't already tell, entrepreneurship is a marathon. It's not only about a story, but also about the lessons and action items to keep you moving forward in your community business, to keep you moving forward and equipping you and empowering you through education on how you can keep going towards your second decade of business between 10 and 20 years, towards a third decade of business between 20 and 30 years, and even beyond that. Absolutely. If you know of a brick and mortar business owner who's at least 10 years strong, who we should highlight on our show, Entrepreneurship is a Marathon, by all means, send a message on Facebook and LinkedIn. Send me a message to nominate them to be a guest on our show. We love highlighting local businesses, however which way we can. And if you're saying to yourself, you know what, Vanessa, I want you on my team as a strategic business advisor, then by all means, feel free to also message me as well too on Facebook, Vanessa Zammy, or LinkedIn, Vanessa Zammy, and let's be in touch. Yes, message my team. I'll message you, and let's connect further at power.vzammy.com on how we can work together and partner together to grow your business so that you can have a life and enjoy a life outside of your business, growing your business without burnout. Yes, let's partner together to shock your business back to life and keep it thriving. We have way more guests coming to join us over the next couple of weeks. If entrepreneurship is a marathon. So if you're watching on YouTube, scroll to the bottom, hit the subscribe button. Yes, to get updates on more guests and more topics coming to you every Tuesday live at 9 p.m. Eastern on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And if you're watching us, you're listening to us on the podcast, remember to rate and review us. Yes, we have more guests, more insights, and more education to help you keep moving forward on your business, on your vision, and on your mission. Yes, absolutely. With that being said, have a lovely, lovely rest of a week. Chat soon.
Thanks for joining us this week on Entrepreneurship is a Marathon. If you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or Spotify, or if you'd simply tell a friend about this episode. And if you're looking for more tips on reviving your business, make sure to visit our website, vzammy.com. That's vzamy.com. To register for our upcoming business growth workshop on staff management, financial management, and time management. It's your time to revive, grow, and scale. Visit vzammy.com. That's V for Vanessa, Z for zebra, A for animal, M as in money, Y as in yes.com. Visit vzammy.com for more details.